Thank you for viewing this Grailcoat application video for walls. The following video is an overview of the wall application process. Study the complete application instructions before an application is performed. Grailcoat has similarities with other products, so some of the application processes are similar, but Grailcoat is different, so be sure to follow our instructions closely. Our hammer test video partly demonstrates some of the differences, showing strength and flexibility. Pictured here is Superflex. It is extremely flexible and tough. This sample shows a white knockdown texture over our natural stone color. The Grailcoat can take a pounding strong enough to break a brick. Other materials are not as tough or crack resistant as Grailcoat. There are three major parts to a great application: substrate preparation, coloring and mixing, and application. You can find our tools and substrate preparation and coloring and mixing videos on the Grailcoat website and YouTube page. Application temperature is important. If the temperature is too low, the Grailcoat will not cure properly. If the temperature is too high, the material becomes more difficult to work. The temperature should be above 40 degrees Fahrenheit and below 105 degrees Fahrenheit. On cold days, apply at 40 degrees and rising. Water. Do not apply if rain is likely within an hour. If the coating becomes wet before it has the opportunity to skim over, the portion not yet properly cured will be ruined. You will know by waiting until the following day. Feel the coating. If it feels solid, all is well. If it feels very soft, it will have to be scraped off and reapplied. Too much moisture can also be a problem with applications done at night, where the dew point will cause moisture to condense on the Grailcoat that is not yet cured. Application. After preparing the substrate and mixing the Grailcoat, you are ready for the application. The application will be performed in three basic steps. 1. Attaching the mesh. 2. Applying the base coat. And 3. Applying the finish coat. An optional knockdown texture can be added. Attaching the mesh. The mesh can be attached in several ways, depending on the substrate and the contractor's preference. The mesh can be attached as the applicator works across the wall or in advance. We will first show using Grailcoat to attach the mesh. Grailcoat can be used on any substrate to attach the mesh. Apply a line of Grailcoat across the top of the wall. Attach the mesh to the top of the wall by embedding it in the Grailcoat. This will hold the mesh in place. We will show this same method on a wood substrate. Once the mesh is attached, you are ready to apply the base coat. With a wood substrate, using a stapler as shown here works well. The mesh can be hung either vertically or horizontally. Overlap each course of mesh 2 inches onto the next course. With a foam substrate, you can use nails to temporarily hold the mesh in place until you begin applying the base coat. Then pull the nail out and coat over the hole. Back-wrap foam panels before attaching them to the wall. On ICFs or EIFs that wasn't back-wrapped, protect the edges as shown. Apply the base coat over the back-wrapped mesh. We will speed up the video at this point so that you can get more information in more quickly. Notice the extra mesh added here to bridge the corner. Applying the base coat. Bullet points. There must be a minimum of 2 complete layers for waterproofing. Both layers must be troweled in. Apply the first coat over and through the mesh. Make 2 to 4 passes over the material with the trowel. Do not overwork the material. Trowel the first layer smooth over the mesh. Use the mesh to guide uniform thickness. The mesh must remain flat against the wall. If there are wrinkles, you need to smooth them out. Allow the base coat to dry for 24 hours before applying the next coat. Touch-ups can be done after the material dries. It's not a good idea to try to make touch-ups while the material is wet. If you're working in an area and you notice an area that has a problem that you worked in 15 minutes ago, don't go back and try to fix it right then, because the material will just be gummy. Wait till the next day and repair that spot at that time.
Might have been a rock that got through the screening process somehow, because it felt solid. You know, you always want to start, and you don't want, obviously, a seam on a seam, you know, kind of deal. Now, if I had my trowel in my hand. Once that's done, you know, your mesh is going to stay up there, so you don't have to worry about tacking it up or anything. And then from then on, it's just, you know, And here's, 'cause if you start there and go down, you're always going to have that. So I always just, once I'm done with an area, I start off of it and come back around.
You finish your area first.
Yeah.
You work your way down.
Yeah. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Basically, what we're doing on this coat is just filling up all these little holes in the mesh. And then you want to make sure you push it through, you pull it back and you see how it's all. And I usually always like on the first coat not to go because we're going to overlap. So I usually don't go clear out to the edges on the first coat. That way it's easier, you got a smoother thing to tie into on that.
Yeah.
Here is another example of applying the first coat, also known as the base coat, over the mesh. Notice that the trim has already been attached to the door frame. This is wrong. The trim should be installed only after 2 coats of Grailcoat have been applied, thus ensuring waterproofing under the trim.
Right in the hair. Let me. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. You're walking on the movie, mate. You're coming back down. Oh, that's it. Okay. I'm going to come out and shower like I'm sure does. I'm going to pull my hair.